I'd like to call the meeting to order. And first is a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for attending today. Mr. Holland will not be here today. So we'll go on with public comment. If you remember, if you haven't been here before, we'd like for you to limit it to 5 minutes. I personally will make sure that staff writes down your comment. I'm not going to answer your comment at that time because that's not what I'm hired for. I'm hired to have staff research it so we can give you a proper answer in accordance to policy and budget. So, anybody have any public comments? Well, that answers that one. How about administrative business?
We do have a couple of items for administrative business today. First, I just wanted to let the board know that the clerk and I have been working on a program whereas if people came in to do a development or building lot split, some of the RIF or DIF fees, they would be able to put those on their taxes spread over a 5-year period versus having to pay them all up front. The clerk said that that is allowable. It'd be a special assessment, basically. Our system is capable of handling it. So that is something that we'll be allowing people to do in the future if they need to take advantage of that.
And that is according to policy?
Yes, it would be allowable.
I love it when staff takes that initiative.
The other thing that we have on here, if there's no other questions about that, the other thing that we have on here is a request from the Tonganoxie Community Historical Society for funding for a project that they have, and I do believe that they're here. Okay, there you go.
Is there a proper form for that? And has that all been filled out? What they're going to use it for? Are we going to have matching funds?
There's a letter in your packet that addresses it.
But I don't think I read anything about matching funds.
It would be up to the board to discuss with the requester.
Okay, I like matching funds.
Okay.
Matching funds are good. Would you like to dissertate on that, ma'am? Come up, give name, address, and smiling face. And
So my name is Chris Roberts. My home address is 24101 195th Street, Leavenworth. I'm currently the president of the Tonganoxie Community Historical Society, and we are, I think we pretty much said what we're looking for in the letter. We are a non-profit museum operating in Tonganoxie. We do a lot with the school districts, and when it comes to doing capital improvements, that's always a budget issue for us, and so we are seeking your help in replacing the roof on the Reno Church. It's a building that was moved, a 1918 building was moved to our site. Hasn't had a roof in about 18 to 20 years, and it really needs one. And so whatever help you can give us would be greatly appreciated. If you have other questions, I mean, we'd be happy to answer them.
Do you have bids on the roof? That $8,000
Yes,
is a
we
bid?
do. We have 3 bids.
And it is the $8,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what the bids were?
Yes,
at
that's the low bid. There were 2 very competitive bids and one that was a little bit off.
Right.
So.
Any other questions?
No, sir. And this will come from the $50,000 fund that we have for historical societies and museum, correct?
Yes.
During the budget process, you did put aside for any requester to come in, for the museums, historical societies.
Mhm.
Now, back to the matching funds. Do
So-
we have any matching funds?
We will find matching funds if that's what we need to do. Again, we're looking for assistance, so we'll find them if we need
Okay.
them.
I like that attitude. That's very good. And you got a lot of paid employees, right?
We have one.
Oh, you do have one.
We have one paid employee. She works 7 hours a week doing data entry into our museum program.
Very good.
And it's something that you really need to have one person doing. You have too many
Yeah.
people doing it in your
I was
program.
jesting on that because most of the museums really don't have any employees, at least museums.
We're staffed with volunteers.
Very good.
This is the first request we've had this year, so the
Yes, this
fund
is
is
the
still
first.
there.
Yes, there are funds available in the 50,000 that you budgeted for this year.
Okay.
Ready for a motion, Chairman?
Your district.
Well, I'll make a motion that we grant the $8,000 to the Tonganoxie Historical Society for the replacement of the roof on the Reno Church.
Watch Chris's face. Dies for lack of a motion. Oh, no. I'll second that. No further discussion. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming forward. I do want to add one thing. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to second that to give 6,000. Okay? They
We
say
just
it
voted
takes
to
eight-
give, we just voted to give them 8.
Okay, but I asked her if there's somehow we have to get involved in there has to be something for them to come forward with. And if they can't come forward with that, they can ask for the other 2.
Okay.
Don't you think they ought to give something? I mean, we asked.
Well, matching funds, yeah, but
Yeah, some kind of.
we don't
matching
have
funds.
any.
How about
we
how
don't-
about $1 and I'll pay the $1? Will that help out? It's just, there ought to be matching funds if we're giving away taxpayers' money.
Yeah, but I think that needs to be when we do our budget, that needs to be spelled out as budget we will have for matching
I
funds.
just asked her the question.
Yeah.
So that's spilling out, coming across the
Okay.
policy. So you want to leave it at the 8?
Yeah,
Okay. It's just money. Why should I care? Yeah, you get 8. You don't have to match it. You don't want to even hear about matching. Because everyone that comes in will not have to give matching funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chris, nothing against you.
No, and we'll give you a report. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
thank you.
And I guess Jamie wants no matching funds either. Oh, something. Is there anything else?
Those were the 2 items we had under
Okay.
administrative business.
Consent agenda. Approval of the minutes. I gotta make a change to the minutes from October the 23rd. It says, a motion was made by Commissioner Klemp and seconded by Commissioner Klemp to approve the October 12th, 2017 meeting minutes. Now, it gets very hard for me to do a motion and do a second with
And then vote to.
Yeah.
hold- yeah.
so, I'm just jesting on that, okay? I'm going through files. Okay, approval of schedule for April the 9th.
Don't see anything.
There might be something, I guess I didn't ask you if you had any questions on the other minutes.
No, I do not.
And for the
bills.
The only question I have is we're talking about, again, about the moratorium,
Mm-hmm.
County Road 1. Who wants to glockenspiel and tell what that is about again and how long it's been going on?
Commissioner Clint, Commissioner Smith, the moratorium was adopted by the county shortly after the completion of the County Road 1. The purpose behind the moratorium was to try to control the development within the County Road 1 corridor, specifically to try to maximize the benefit to the taxpayer for the investment that was made by trying to utilize that land for its best use. That moratorium has been in effect it's been in effect at least 10 years. The moratorium does contain a provision whereby any person that wishes to be relieved from the moratorium or waived for them can apply to the commission, and the commission can consider that request. You've received several requests over the years, and you've granted them. Commissioners, we haven't had any real push for development along the corridor at this time, and I'm concerned that the ongoing presence of that moratorium might be, it might waive off a potential developer if they contact and find out there's a moratorium on County Road 1, that their use of that property might be limited. You can, if you waive them, or if you move to take away the moratorium, I'm not certain if it would have any real impact. But I think, again, I think if somebody makes inquiry about County Road 1 corridor and finds out there's a moratorium, it could complicate things. In other words, they might view that as a barrier
Right.
to using it.
That's why I would like to see that portion put on next week when we discuss the moratorium, because I personally think it ought to be removed.
And Commissioner Clamp, the county has, or is working with the city of Tonganoxie towards the development of a development plan for the corridor. So there is going to be some land use control there above and beyond the moratorium.
Yeah, but 10 years and we haven't gone anywhere, another 10, when that meeting's taking place, that makes me 89, gives me 12 years left at 101, so, we're not the federal government. Surely we can move a little bit faster than that. Maybe we can't, I don't know. So if we'll put that on with that, to discuss whether to leave the moratorium, unless you're highly...
No, but I didn't know if the city of Tonganoxie would have a say within their 3-mile.
You might ask your planning and zoning director to contact his peer or his peer in Tonganoxie and make a request of any input.
But yeah, I agree with Commissioner Klemp. It's ridiculous to have a moratorium that many years. I could see right after a project was done and some development was coming in, but I mean, 5 years would be a maximum, I think, on a moratorium.
I think when the moratorium was put in place, it contemplated that there would be a study completed within that first few years. It just never happened.
And
We
so
are in the process now of
the
completing
past
that-
commissioners failed
that,
to
study.
do the study. So.
Right.
anything on the check register? I've got
No.
I've just got two little things that, one is for
Page.
American Response Vehicle, page 1.
Oh.
That has to do with ambulances. what-
Those are the
Police
ambulance.
cars,
purchases.
sheriff cars.
Ambulance purchases.
$355,000 for insurance. Is that right?
Those aren't insurance, those are actually purchasing vehicles.
Oh, those are purchasing.
Yes.
So what was, I see what the difference is between 22 and 120,000. 120,000 must be buying a new one. I think I heard that discussion. What are the 22,000s and 11,000s?
Those were payments as we went along for the equipment and the finishing. And the director is here if you have specific questions, he'd be more.
No, I was just wanting to present that
Sure.
EMS, running their budget, has $355,000 worth of charges. So people would know that we just don't waste money unless they think the director's not doing responsible things. I don't have that feeling. And years ago, I offered to, it's number, the first one up, second one up from the bottom, 22,793. I offered to take the sheriff out to pay for his way out to Arizona and visit with Sheriff Joe, maybe learn something about dietitians, because we're spending $23,000, and this was just this week, or this, yeah, that'd be this week, on food for prisoners. Sheriff Joe had a different approach. He got replaced, but that was political, not because of having to wear pink underwear and all that other stuff. I think they eat too good. I have the same feeling about the homeless. I know people that are working up there and they say, I'd like to have some of that food. So, okay. Last thing is approve and sign the OCBs, and, well, there's one other thing that was added in here. Approve case number DEV 1824, amending the plan to the zoning. You ever thought process on that, sir?
No, does Mr. Joseph want to?
Any item that goes before the Planning and Zoning Commission that adopted 7-0 and or unanimous, excuse me, and does not require a public hearing can be put into a consent agenda for approval. That's why it's in there.
Do you have any questions?
No, it doesn't.
We just wanted to see you walk up. Okay, you did good.
I didn't know if Mr. Joseph wanted to touch on it any.
No, it was just to clean up the document. We
Right,
had some
that's it.
discrepancies in there, so we just cleaned it up, and the planning commission approved it.
Said
So.
anybody wants to see it, it's just like marking out a paragraph here at the bottom. Not a big deal, doesn't look like.
That's good. So do you just need a motion and a vote?
For the
Consent agenda. Are you ready for a motion?
Consent agenda, yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Formal board actions. Formal board actions. Consider a motion to authorize the EMS department to reclassify all paramedic level positions within the county's pay plan. Yes, Mr. James.
Commissioners, good morning. I presented a RBA basically outlining the concern that was brought forward in February in regards to the retention and recruitment abilities of the EMS department because of the lack of response from the pay issues that we're reviewing. I met with Mark several times since February trying to work up a plan. I believe what I presented in the request for board action outlines that plan very well. This plan would not impact mill levy. It's basically going to use revenues that we're bringing in through EMS runs to offset those additional costs that we would need. What I'm asking to do is basically reclassify paramedic level positions within the county's plan. The paramedics currently at are a level 7. As you're aware, the county's plan goes all the way to a level 50. That level 7 classification represents a very low support staff leveling. That's a starting wage of $13.69 an hour. I'm presenting that we move the paramedic levels up starting at the level 9. That would match more of the professional position that these employees are at, requiring degrees in special education as opposed to where they're at currently. Like I said before, I have several employees that were also here in February. They're back again. It's very important to them. I've interacted with them throughout the last several months, asking questions, trying to get their input and feedback of what they feel. And again, I believe with their support here today, they're showing you that they've seen this request. Obviously, it's been in the board packet and things, and they're here to support that. So I asked for the consideration of the board today to support the recommendation to authorize the EMS department to reclassify all paramedic level positions within the county's plan. Mark, have anything?
Well, I think Mr. Miller did a good job of demonstrating that the revenue that's come in is in excess of what was actually budgeted, and it's due to the increased call demand and calls that they're running. With that extra revenue, we're providing a service, and in order to continue to provide that service, we have to be competitive in the market. Mr. Miller also did some research on what other positions are paying, not only in that particular line, but just in the general population. And I think we've all seen the signs or heard on the news about some of these large box stores increasing their starting wages to a point where it actually is in excess of what we're paying people who we expect to have saving calls. So I think it's a good request. I think Mr. Miller did a good job of researching, and I think I would definitely support the recommendation that he's asking for.
Are there any questions?
I do not.
Oh, I do. Jamie says I knew you would. I guess have all your employees been, as the administrator said, it really probably is not going to cost because we do collect. Does the sheriff collect?
Well, the sheriff does not bill for his services.
I know that. And that's the point I'm getting at. I'm not being against the EMS. The sheriff doesn't collect. How about fire departments? No, they don't collect. I got fires just roll on and on. It's amazing, and we really don't want you to show up, do we? I don't want you in my house. Because she probably already waited a couple hours before she called you anyway. So it's amazing how we go and how we're competitive and not competitive. Have all your employees been shown that we're 54% not taxable? That's very significant. I do like the fact that you collect. I like that. Sheriff doesn't even issue tickets, probably, because he's got to be reelected. You don't have to be reelected, do you? No. You just have to be appointed. You're doing a good job, we reappoint you. What county are we? We number 7 now, or? We're 6? I'd like the clerk to bring up all the salaries of the other 5 to see if we're compatible with what they charge. So I can, at the end of my term, I can move to raise the salaries of the county commissioners. That's just a sideline. Just thought I'd pass that on. Past pay plan. What do we do pay plans for? You know, Jamie?
Why we do a pay plan? Basically to allocate categorizations of levels of positions and such.
This should have been done during a pay plan time. You know, you should have been called in and said, hey, you know, this is not good. We're paying a minimum wage, and the box people or Amazon doesn't even collect sales tax, you know, so they're not paying back to the governments. So, you know, the systems just go on and on. So, as I say, I don't know why we do a pay plan. No logic to it.
He's still operating within his pay plan.
Oh, yeah, but it's a modification, and here comes the clerk, God bless her heart. She's gonna want to do for her employees, and the sheriff already did his, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't even have to ask, he just did his thing. So, it's amazing how the system works. And you all need to go in there and file down there at the clerk's office, and come up here and see how you have to move the money around. And it's a shame because, you know, the people that talk to us are the business people. My God, you're putting us out of business. We can't do this. We can't do that. But they do say when you show up, they're happy. Especially if you save their life. It's sort of like an atheist being shot on the goddamn battlefield, you know. You'll probably say God in there somewhere. So, how do you vote? I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the paramedic reclassification.
I'll second that. The administrator said he's along with it,
Yes, sir.
so that's how I push a little bit of that blame over there. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to listen to the glockenspiel, but that's very important. Yep. I'll tell Dave you said hi. Okay. Next one is consider motion to award a bid to Line Weaver Construction for that 971st Street?
179th Street.
Oh, 179th Street.
179th Street, Commissioner.
Oh, 179th Street.
You need me to show that to you on the map?
No, that's all right. I think I know where that is.
Okay.
That's where
It's
past
there.
commission did that first
Right.
150 foot so that people could get into the cemetery.
It's that road that had my opponent signs on it.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah, that
Okay.
road.
Who's gonna block it? Oh,
Good morning, Commissioners.
yes.
Public Works is seeking approval to award the contract for the 179th Street project to Lineweaver Construction. Bids were opened on March 22nd. We received 6 bids for that project. Lineweaver Construction was the low bidder at $325,298.40. Public Works recommends approval.
And you didn't feel bad about cutting those trees down to put out all these copies?
We send them up in a digital format, sir.
Oh,
Somebody else pushing it over on us.
yeah, okay.
We got rid of enough trees on that job to pay for that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You have any questions?
No, sir. I've heard about 179th Street for years.
How about the administrator? Do you have any questions, sir?
I have reviewed this. This has been under discussion for several years, and to say the least, and I have met with Public Works. We went over this, and I would support.
I have 3. Funds are being taken from
The project will be funded with RIF fees.
RIF fees. Okay. How long will it take? Probably was in
I
here.
think the contract had 120 working days, if I remember correctly.
Would you keep track of that? Because we're trying to find out, because this was not a mile. What is this?
It's like 3,000, a little over 3,000 feet.
3/4 of a mile?
Yeah, roughly,
Somewhere
yes.
in that neighborhood. Because it'd be nice to know
2/3.
how many miles, because that was something that I brought up earlier, that I'd like to take as much money as we can borrow and do as many roads as we can do. I guess that was, the other one didn't have much to do with that. So keep track of that, because I would really like to know how long it takes to do a mile of road.
We will get that information to you upon completion.
Appreciate it. Want to do a motion?
I sure do. Make a motion to award the bid on 179th Street to Lineweaver Construction.
I'm gonna put my hand behind my back. Would you push my arm up?
I sure will.
Okay. Got 179th Street. Okay, and I really was glad to hear that nobody was aware that there was something weird going on with 179th Street. And it would be all speculation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was presented in,
Hearsay evidence.
yeah, hearsay. How you vote?
Aye.
Because I
Say again, sir?
don't think you actually seconded the motion.
Oh, I didn't. I was waiting for the arm twisting.
waiting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll second it. Thank you very much. You said yes.
Yes, aye.
I'll say yes. Very good. There goes
We have any
170.
other roads out for bid right now?
182nd Street is out for bid. Bid opening is on May 2nd.
It's on May 2nd.
Yes.
And it'd probably be the same thing, 120-day project?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to, it's a little bit longer, but it'd be a pretty similar project to 179.
Why are
Okay.
we, that brings up a question, why are we taking so long for the bids?
This one I held, Westar's not planning to relocate until May, so I got the bid, so we can open it in May and it'll be awarded later in May, so hopefully it'll seamlessly flow into construction.
So you're trying to avoid a change order then?
Yeah, I was just trying to wait
Okay.
till utilities were gonna be out of the way.
Are we concerned now with moving utilities on the roads that we want to bid?
Well, we want to make sure that we have an idea of when they're going to be completed before we bid. We don't want utility delays to end up costing us money on the construction side.
But, you know, we have utilities, we have easements, we have all these things, and that is not what my mind is focusing on. It's going in to improve a road to standards that don't necessarily meet extreme professional standards at $500,000 a mile.
Yeah, we are internally discussing ways where we can try to speed up the acquisition and relocation process, so things may run more together instead of step at a time. We're looking at how we could possibly speed these projects up.
I'm looking at doing a road. I don't care about utilities, as long as they're not falling within our current easement. We grade them, we chip and seal, or seal, so people can have a road, and we can hopefully switch off of the salt to sand, because roads are not, they don't bring any income in. Now somebody would say, no, yeah, they bring in this, they bring in that. Well, but sand does not deteriorate asphalt or concrete, but salt sure does. So, okay.
One of the things that I've been discussing with Public Works, and Mr. Luchin was alluding to, is the timing and the timeline of what it takes to do one of these road projects. And I think industry standard is 3 years for these. We're trying to accelerate that process, but I know one of the frustrations is with the board that we don't have road projects that are currently underway or that have been underway. And the problem is not what's happening now, it's what happened 3 years ago when there was no funding for these projects. And so for several years, we weren't going out for bid. We weren't doing design work on projects. This board has addressed that. We're designing projects on an ongoing basis.
Right.
We have a CIP that we're working on, so that moving forward, we will always have roads being improved throughout the county. But again, 3 years ago, there was a couple of years in a row where they did not approve those types of things, and that's why we don't have anything that has been going on. So.
What's interesting, you said it normally takes about 3 years.
Well, by the time you get the property acquisition, the design, and the utility locations, and then the construction.
We usually want about 18 months to move utilities.
Okay, so 3 years, and there's 500 miles of road times 3 years. There isn't anybody in here going to be alive that time. So that's why I was saying the road itself needs to be done. Not moving the utilities, getting another 90 foot or 100 foot or what we want easement. But that's just my opinion. Maybe some people don't care, it doesn't bother them, then it's going to take, let's reduce it down to 2 years times 500 some miles. So,
We're under 500 now on gravel.
Right,
well,
pretty close.
Okay. We don't argue over that because one of us would be wrong and then the other one would be happy because the other one was wrong. So, okay.
Well, I
You
think
got
I
your
know which
money?
one's wrong.
Tell Jerry I want it done faster than that.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, David. All right.
Okay, Lionel Weaver got his 325. Case number DEV 18-010, amending, adding Article 42, Family Homestead Exemption in the Leavenworth County zoning and subdivision regulations.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is case number DEV 18-010. You have actually seen this policy before. We brought it up for you guys to preview before we took it to the Planning Commission. This policy is directly relatable to the new DIF policy that was passed a couple of weeks ago. This would just allow family members who were giving property to a defined family member to have the DIF fee waived for a period of time until the property was transferred outside of the family. There are some provisions within the new policy that would provide some safety guards to allow us to know when that happened. Like I said, you've seen this before. The Planning Commission voted 7-0 with 2 members absent to approve it. They did not make any changes from what you guys had previously seen. So we'll answer any questions that you may have.
And this does require public hearing.
And yes.
Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
The only question I had is how long does this go on? You know, I want to give, I got 160 acres. I got 4 kids, so I'm going to give them each 40. We'll build a house. Now they got kids. They're going to give them minimum amount to their kids. And then they're going to get them. And they're pretty soon the whole is who was it down in Kentucky, you know, Martin Floyd, you know, the whole thing is owned by. So, is there ever a limitation of how low in the family tree you go?
According to this policy, there is no limitation. As long as they are family members, you know, you can transfer property.
There is a limit on how far down the family tree you can go, but as long as they're your children, so children can pass it to their children, to their children, to their children, as long as it stays in the immediate family, which is defined within the
Yeah,
policy.
and that's not all bad. But that's the only question I had. Put that down in, you know, history book, year 21 50. Somebody's passing it on to their child who is cloned. It'd be interesting. God almighty, I love life. How do you,
We do need a public hearing. We do need a public hearing.
Oh, public hearing. I don't think anybody wants to be there, but we'll open it up to a public hearing. If that's all right with you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anybody want to talk? I'll close the public hearing. You want to do a motion? Say again?
Okay.
A thought.
What constitutes a family member? What's your definition?
Would you get this to,
You have to be a blood relative?
would you get this to
Can I
Mr.
adopt somebody?
Yeah.
There is a definition in the policy. It's basically parents and spouses and descendants thereof, and children and descendants thereof.
So if you'll get a copy of that so he can read that in detail. Because I thought it was interesting, I saw in the paper the other day about an adoption that was not performed by the time the colonel and his wife, adoption of East, I think it was, by the time she was 16, you know, in which she qualified, you know, they adopt her, yeah, she qualifies. So if you'll get a copy of that to Mr. Berry so he can read that in detail. Now, I can't remember if we did the motion. Did you do that?
No, sir, I did not.
Do that.
I'll make a motion, we approve case number DEV-18-010, family homestead exemption.
Second? How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
And there is a resolution also that needs approval.
Resolution. Okay.
2018, what? 9. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2018-9.
I'll second that. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wouldn't it be nice to be around to see how long that goes on? That's good. Yeah. Okay. That was, okay, case number DEV-18-22, issuing a temporary permit for gravel grinders.
The bike race.
That was confusing before.
Yeah. I believe this happens every year.
Does staff have anything to say on that?
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. This is case number DEV 18-022, temporary special use permit for Cool Hand Luke gravel grinder bike race. This is an annual bicycling event that will be held on county roads on Sunday, April 22nd, 2018. Registration opens at 5:30 a.m. and the race begins at 7 a.m. The race will finish at 5 p.m. Registration, parking, and the starting and finishing point are at 16940 Dakota Drive. Participants will complete 25, 50, or 100-mile routes on the gravel roads in the county. The applicant has provided an emergency preparedness plan and is requesting a waiver of the $100 application fee. The Planning and Zoning Department recommends approval of case number DEV 18-022, subject to conditions. The applicant is present to answer any questions you may have, as are we.
Do you have any negative questions?
No.
I don't have any negative questions, so if we open it to public hearing, there's nothing negative going to be said about it, so I don't know if that person, well, there will be one negative thing, so I don't know if that person wants to come up and talk. I don't believe in waiving the administration, application fee.
On the last one, you did not waive it, correct? I was absent. There was something.
Yes, we did. We did have somebody come in and we did not
we
waive
did
the
not.
fee.
You did not waive it because they were going to donate some money or something.
I don't know, I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a
they-
couple weeks, a
Yeah,
month
I
ago.
remember that, but
Okay.
I'm pretty mature, so there are a lot of things I don't remember.
Well, it was about, because they donated some money back and said just donate $100 less or something. Wasn't that what it was?
I think that's what it
Yes,
was.
that is what happened.
Okay.
Gosh, I wish I had a useful mind.
That's a terrible thing to waste. So this is a fundraiser of some type?
Yes, it is. That's what it
Okay.
is.
The applicant is here if you have any questions.
Okay, so would this be similar to the last one that you did not waive the $100?
That's true. So I'm going to open it to the public meeting, so if you want to come up and what we're already going to ask, but you'd go, because the bicycle shop needs some advertisement anyway. Good bicycle shop.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Brendan Sheehan. I'm the owner of Santa Fe Trails Bike Shop in Leavenworth. This is our 4th year for this event. And we're expecting 170 people to come into Leavenworth County. And we draw people from several different states and several different communities. And they do come in here generally. A large portion of them will come in the night before, stay, and spend sales tax dollars in Leavenworth County.
We've got a lot of motels now, too.
We do.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Bringing that money in. So,
Right.
you have any questions of Brendan? If you don't, I have one.
No, I don't have any questions.
Now, this may be a little conflict of interest. You sold me a bicycle,
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy.
and I have to actually pump. It doesn't do it for me.
That's correct. That's a mutual benefit.
But you didn't put that. Okay. Anything else? Staff? Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
So are you not wanting to waive the fee?
I'm not wanting to wait the fee.
Okay. Let me get this. Are we out of the public hearing now?
Yes. I just,
Okay. All right, then are you ready for a motion?
I'm ready for a motion.
All right. I'll make a motion, we approve case number DEV-18-0222, an application for the bike race gravel grinders, and not waive the $100 fee.
Okay. I'm going to second that, and I think all the commissioners ought to go for the 100-mile ride.
Okay.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. You don't have an extra sheet of paper that we have to sign? Okay. Okay. Presentation and discussion items. And I do have some, if staff or anybody else doesn't have anything.
We do have 2 items.
Good.
One being the development fee discussion. And one of the things that over the past month, since we implemented this, we've had a person come in with an application that included a corner lot. I think that there is room in there for us to interpret how those fees are applied to corner lots, but we will be bringing back something just for clarification, so there's no room for interpretation. That's clearly spelled out. What we've chosen, or what we believe it should be interpreted is the road that you're accessing is where you pay the development improvement fee, versus if you're on a corner, you don't pay both sides. Now, if you would access both roads, then you'd have to pay the diff on both roads. But if you access one road, you wouldn't pay on the side road. I think that's a fairly common practice when you're doing those types of things. So just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, and that we will be bringing an amendment.
If you do one, because that's what we're going to use.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, the other road is used. Do you have to then pay?
That's something we're going to be addressing, actually. That is,
Okay.
that does require policy change on that one. But yes, we do believe that if you originally platted to access one road and you come back in and because our access management plan would allow that, an entry on there, but if you do that, then you would have to pay the impact fees on that road. So that is something, again, we'll be bringing that. I think I have the draft on my inbox yesterday, and we'll be reviewing it this week and putting it on an agenda.
When Commissioner Smith does this, I know it's going to be a question. Yes, sir.
Even if you're not going to split a lot off, say you're on the other road, you're on a corner lot, and you just say, hey, I want a field entrance there to go to the back side of my place, that's going to require a development fee agreement?
Well, I think that there's, I think you have to address certain things differently. First of all, field access would be different than a driveway onto that. And
Well, I mean, I think your development fee agreement would be the road you access and wherever your address is. If your address, let's just say 179th Street, and then Donahue comes around, you're on a corner lot. If you're not going to develop or a building lot on Donahue, I didn't think you'd have to pay the development fee. You know, just say, hey, I want a field entrance into the back of my backyard or something off of Donahue.
What is the South Road off of 179th?
So, oh, if you go all the, no, Leavenworth Road.
Leavenworth.
Okay, so we'll use 179 Leavenworth Road.
Yeah, well, you got the cemetery there.
well, I think the challenge there is, though, that I come in and I do a plat, I split two lots off, and they both show access along on to 179th Street. But I'm not the builder. I'm just the guy who split the lot. Then the homeowner, the person who's going to build, comes in and actually builds it and puts the main driveway onto Leavenworth Road.
Well, then it should be, yeah.
Right. That's what we're trying to address.
Oh, okay.
That's what
All
we're
right. I
trying
did thought you meant if somebody bought a corner lot, they had no intentions of splitting any more off of that lot.
No, that's a,
Okay.
what happened is somebody bought a corner lot, they split it into two lots, and they will access both. They wanted access to both roads. If they only access one road, we only charge them the fees on that road. If they access both.
Right, right. Well, that's what the fee was for.
So if we do this lot split, they come in, they say, we're gonna go both of them on 179, but then when the person comes in to actually build, they come in and show their main drive coming out onto Leavenworth Road in your example, then they would have to pay that fee.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right,
we're
all right.
addressing.
Answer my
I
question.
use the cemetery because there's a lot of lots down there.
Yes, there is. They're getting a whole lot of taxes off. They don't have no addresses on
They don't have
house
any.
numbers.
They probably vote some.
Mhm.
Okay.
The other item that we had on there, if there's no further discussion on that, and again, that will be coming to the board, just wanted to bring
Okay.
that up. The other item for discussion on here is the organization and makeup of Leavenworth County Port Authority. Last week at the Port Authority meeting, at the end of the Port Authority meeting, we discussed some of the items that have been coming up through the board discussions here and the makeup of the Port Authority. And what the Port Authority and the group that was there discussing it determined, I think rightly so, is that really it's not that group's role to decide how the Port Authority is made up and who's making appointments. It's the role of the two entities that form the Port Authority, which would be the city and the county. So that it's then falls back to us to determine and make the recommendation on how we think it should be made up. And I know that the board here has expressed that if we are the ones funding the Port Authority, that we should be the appointers of the people on there. That requires amendment to the current agreement that's in place or the adoption of a new agreement. What we're looking for from the board today would be direction on how you wish to proceed. Would you like us to draft an amendment that we then submit to the city, or would you like us to draft a completely different agreement that basically removes the city from the Port Authority and makes it a county or a county board?
Does that take the legislature to approve any changes in the Port Authority?
No, not in that case, because we're already formed. So we would not have to go back to legislation to form a new Port Authority. We can amend the formation of the current Port Authority.
And your thoughts are? Because you know what my thought is. Now, I don't know if that's legal, but you know what my thought is.
So the county takes complete control over the Port Authority?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't care for this going back and forth, back and forth. They meet at different times.
okay,
And we're able to read minds where they're not.
okay.
5 minds to read. So my thought is that we do our own Port Authority. We involve them as ex officio members, like we are involved with certain things that we don't get a chance to vote on, although we pay the big tab. So that would be my thought process.
Need a motion on that?
Yes, so if the direction would be that staff prepares an agreement that would be, that would basically form the, redo the agreement or redo the organization of the Port Authority to where it would be solely appointed by the Leavenworth County Commission. And that the cities in the county could have ex officio spots. Is that what you're asking for?
Is that pretty much what you wanted?
That's what I want.
Yes.
So if you
I'll second that.
Okay.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
I will work with the county councilor. We will get that, the draft, and bring it back for your formal approval. Then we can submit it to the city. So we know what our intentions are.
Okay.
Do you have anything else? Because I've got a few things.
Oh, well, I just was, health insurance, you know, we was talking about earlier this year, is there any possibilities of going in with different cities in the county to making a health insurance group?
To form a health insurance pool requires fairly significant process. There are already pools existing that we have the opportunity to participate with.
Well, not necessarily a pool, just that we'd all have the same company go out for bid for the same health care coverage, and then we'd all have the same provider or something like that.
I think, again, that would require the formation of a insurance pool, which is not insignificant. And in addition, the pools that are available, there's no guarantee that that actually reduces the cost of health insurance for all of us. Each city currently goes out and bids their own insurance. They all have the opportunity to participate in the pool that I was referring to, which is Midwest Public Risk. And we actually had them quote us last year, and they were higher than the quote that we received independently and individually. I've offered the cities opportunities to participate in other items. So far, only 2 cities have expressed any interest in working with the county on anything.
Okay.
I have about 5 or 6 things here. This is probably about 1/10 of our lawsuit. And this just keeps going on and on.
Yep.
Are you set up all right, Glenn?
Yep.
Okay. You know, I watched Jeff Sessions. He reclused himself. I watched our judge do the same thing. County attorney does the same thing. I've always looked at attorneys and judges, but they don't have to do that. Having gone to school, they should know what the law is. Some of the great interpretations of law are by students of law. I've read some and I thought, man, that kid is just in school to learn how to do that. And I guess he goes to a judge or the law firm and they say, yeah, you don't have enough opinion in there. Law has no opinion. There's 10 great laws. I shall not commit murder. Everybody knows what that is. Oh, no, you don't. Now we get into what kind of intent the murder was and what this is and what that is. It says you shall not murder. This judge is no different than Sessions or anybody else. He can't be incompetent. But he has created such a burden on our society here in the county that it's unbelievable. I had heard that last week there was going to be something where he came forward with something. Yeah, and it was something he came forward with, and now it's not going to be till next Monday. He's going to come forward with something else. All we should be getting is the contracts were legal or the contracts were illegal. Now, where we screwed up originally is we didn't just automatically fire all those that were under contract and let them sue. I'll guarantee it would have been handled much faster. When did the lawsuit start? Do you know off the top of your head, Mr. Attorney or Mr. Administrator?
June.
June. So we're getting ready to come up on a year. He's still drawing a paycheck. I'd like to know how he's drawing his paycheck. He can put it off for a couple of years and really draw a good paycheck. Then we can just call him Johnny Paycheck. Maybe he can relate to that. Maybe he's old enough. I don't know. But it's getting real irritating because he isn't capable. Now, they deposed ex-Commissioner Graber. And I heard for 2 days. That wasn't smart. Totally not smart. If I'd been his lawyer and I would have been the doctor, I would have said, no, you're not deposing this man. Physically, mentally, it's not good for him. But nobody did that. Now, the other day, they deposed our county clerk for a day. I heard she was going to get 2 days. I was upset because she only got 1 day. I think everybody should be put through 2 days because I don't plan to be deposed. You know what that means? My tush goes to jail if they want. You know what? I'm sure there's some guys over there play basketball. I don't have any problems going to jail. But I'll guarantee you somebody's going to be here from Fox News in Washington, D.C. And if we want that kind of, what do you call it, put out on Kansas, because we have the same problem here in Kansas. It's called the swamp. We had the same problem here in Leavenworth, called the swamp. Because you had two county commissioners running astray, doing whatever they want. 179th Street. Oh, no, it's just $325,000. But that's just on one thing. So, I felt upset when the clerk, nothing emotional about her going, but I don't think that that's what this is about, a judge rambling on and on like I do up here. So, I don't know what we need to do, but he needs to get off his dead tush and make a decision, are the contracts legal or illegal? Let's get on down the road. Let's don't keep mushing around with the goddamn dog team, you know, in the snow, and that's what he's doing. Allowing his attorneys, and I find it very offensive that there seems to be a protection of attorneys, and yet we have attorneys that go bad. So I don't know if there's anything we can do, how insulting I can get, because I think this needs to be settled and out of the way, and we can either pay these people or we can say, no, we're not paying them, and we appeal it to a higher court. Problem is, it never gets to the highest court because we're taking God out of everything, so it never gets up there. So I would like for our county councilor and our administrator to find some way. Young David, and he was young when David King was hired on here, should never have reclused himself. Never. He could have legal or unlegal, or not legal. I don't care. Jeff Sessions has us in a monstrous swamp up there because he's not capable of making a decision. So I don't know if there's a way to do it, and it's a shame that the clerk had to go. I don't think, have you been yet?
No, sir.
Are you going to jail or are you going to go?
Don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Well, I want to put it out. They call me first because I'm going to jail. Because they're not going to recluse. They're not going to depose me. Not.
Got good food over there.
Say again?
The jail.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that.
Earlier.
And probably get snacks. And I think they have to pay me so much an hour, and the wife, 10 cents an hour or something. Well, I appreciate that. So, and we as the people just accept this. We're like we're all cloned. We're at the edge of the cliff. Yeah, okay, there goes one lemming, so we all have to jump off. It is so simple to interpret law. But can you tell us a little bit about your deposition, or where you want to go, or can you tell us anything about it? Was it exciting?
No, I don't think exciting is the word. Commissioner Holland did attend my deposition.
Okay.
And so you could certainly ask him, but I'm really not at liberty to say what was.
Well, I thought it's interesting that Commissioner Holland is there, but were you there?
I know. Were we supposed to come and sit with you?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
So neither one of us were there. I didn't go when Clyde was deposed. Who else have they deposed, David?
To my knowledge, it's Commissioner Graber, Commissioner Hall, County Commissioner Graber, County Commissioner Holland, and Ms. Klozinski.
And Larry Marlboro.
And Mr. Larry Marlboro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Judge, get off your dead tush.
Are we supposed to be sitting in on these depositions?
No, you have legal counsel to attend.
Yeah.
You can attend if you wish to, as you are a party.
Oh,
But traditionally,
okay.
parties don't attend depositions.
All right.
I felt bad that Bob was going and I wasn't.
I did. I thought we were supposed to. Maybe we were supposed to be there to support the clerk.
Maybe the judge would see that's 2-1.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe that's not fair.
Okay.
Well, thank you, and shame that Commissioner Holland wasn't here to give his point of view of the deposition. And I'm sorry it was not exciting. It wasn't like shopping, was it?
It's an experience
Good
I've never been
experience.
through before.
Got it. Yeah, just think how many more years of experiences you've got doing. Okay, thank you. I just have some sheets I want to ramble over. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says how great roundabouts are. Get a message here from Mark Lowry. It says, Sheriff Dedeke has identified a potential qualified successor to the office of District Coroner. Do you wish to advertise for the position or enter into a discussion with the physician identified by the sheriff? I do not want to enter into a physician that has been identified by the sheriff. So my opinion is we advertise. I don't know what the other gentleman is here.
What is this? Something that's pretty critical that needs to be done pretty quick?
Commissioners, Dr. Eric Mitchell will no longer serve as the district coroner after the end of this month.
Yeah.
You need a district coroner. You currently have a district coroner and deputy coroners. Their job, it's a time-sensitive job.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest, the first judicial district is Leavenworth and Atchison counties. As you have the most population, you appoint the coroner. Leavenworth County used to have an in-county physician for coroner. We've received less and less, and in fact, no interest in taking the position. We currently have 2 deputies coroners who have decades of experience, and I believe at least one of them might be ready, willing, and able to serve.
Why did it say on the back sheet to Douglas County, Neosho, Lyon, and Leavenworth County Commission?
Because Dr. Mitchell is county coroner for those counties as well.
So who are they using?
Dr. Eric Mitchell.
Yeah, but who will they be using? We
I don't know, Commissioner.
I think we need to get back to them and say, you know, we'd like to know, and we'll go out for bids. But
Do we have time to go out for bids?
Commissioners, again, after April 30th, you will not have a district coroner. The deputies can still continue,
Yeah.
but again, I believe this is a time-sensitive issue. I'm not certain how you would advertise for this. I don't believe the newspaper is a proper venue to request services of a coroner. And Commissioner Klemp, I understand your position, but at the same time, county coroner is an apolitical office. They handle deceased individuals and provide other services that are required by law. And the sheriff informed me that one of the deputies would be interested in succeeding Dr. Mitchell, and we could have seamless provision for a district coroner.
I don't want to go too far with my statement. I do not want someone who Mr. Dedicate's going to suggest. It's about as nice as I can be about it.
No sense in a motion, then.
I had here, and I was going to give a handout to each of the commissioners. I personally want to see no more negotiations. Personal opinion. Takes two to tango up here. With any of the people that are suing Lemoore County. I see where negotiations go nowhere. Or they go in a negative direction. I shouldn't say nowhere. They go negatively. Back to lawyers. His third paragraph, that Thomas Haney, I guess it was, Jeffrey Wilson, I don't know when the heck it was, ever who her attorney is. I've only made one statement that I know of. I don't like a 5-year contract or a 3-year contract, and I think they're illegal. He goes on in his second paragraph and says, defend allegations which have been made against her. Okay. Three-year contract, that's an allegation. That's a statement of fact. His third paragraph, this was Thomas Haney who drafted this letter. Additionally, he's telling me, additionally, there will be no further attempt to affect the sheriff's budget or Ms. Hill's contract with the sheriff. Now, no, David, don't want to hear it. Where does he get the, or what you want to call him, to tell me that I will have no effect on the sheriff's budget? I did make a statement, the sheriff must have too much money in his budget to hire a person. Where'd he come up with all this money? He had to get it from somewhere. So is he hiding money within his budget? No, I plan to look at his budget the same way I'm looking at everybody else's budget. But he already had given a pay raise to his people, and then he hires an attorney. Where does this go? Do we really care where it goes? Well, we're about to get $97 million worth of funds. We can spend that, yeah. Give it to the sheriff. No. All because of the judge. All because of the judge. and he doesn't give a rat's because he's drawing a paycheck. Is there any way we can find out what his paycheck is? David,
That'd be a public record through the Office of Judicial Administration.
would you do that?
I can make that inquiry.
I would appreciate it. I'd like to know what he's being paid. And I guess we can take all the judges and figure out what they're getting paid, and we can do that for the county commissioners, because we're having to go through all this BS for the attorney. I had the last thing, and it was did I get that, the contract? Yes. I have a copy for each of the commissioners. Has to do with resolution number 2014-41. That was the sales tax. 4 items on that. Improvement of 147th, improvement of McIntyre, improvement of Eisenhower, and number 4 was was the improvement of secondary road system of the county. Nothing was in that of economic development funds, no industrial, nothing. But if you go on to the letter that was supposed to be sent out, now letters take priority over resolutions. I don't understand that. I thought a resolution had some power. But no, I guess it's a letter to electorate, friends, family, that they have more priority. So they get in the letter, and I don't know who drafted it up. It was under Bixby, Graber, and Hollins.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably...
It was a public notice.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a public notice.
Yeah, okay. I thought, well, no, this was in form of a letter.
Well, I got a public notice that they put in the paper, I guess.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, no.
But it takes a priority over a resolution.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Resolutions don't mean anything anymore, so we won't do any more resolutions. Let's don't do resolutions, don't mean anything. But in there, they add, and I'm sure it's...
20% of the county share of sales tax proceeds will be used for...
They also add 20% of the county share of the sales tax.
For economic development.
Well, that was added. We didn't have that under the resolution.
No, but it was a public notice that went in the paper, wasn't it?
Resolution's going to be over a public notice.
The question that was submitted to the voters, that was actually voted upon, is what has the ruling over, it takes precedence over any resolution that was adopted or
Right.
any notice that was sent.
But it doesn't say anything about 20%.
The actual question takes.
And that question was in the resolution. So the resolution takes priority over any public notice.
Right. But it wasn't in the vote. Went on the ballot.
It was not on the ballot.
No, it was not on the ballot. So what I'm wanting to do is it would be a board order. Does that have any authority anymore?
Yes.
It does, thank you. In order of the Board of County Commissioners of Leavenworth County, Kansas, ratifying the position of the county regarding the allocation and use of the proceeds from the 1% countywide retail sales tax approved by the electorate of the county in 2015. I think it was December.
It was in December.
Whereas the electorate of Leavenworth County approved 1% countywide sales tax at the election conducted on, whereas an informal letter dated December the 31st, 2014 was sent to the sent, says set, but that's all right. Should have been sent to the voters, because we now know a letter takes priority, although the clerk said that it didn't. Whereas the letter of December the 31st stated 20% of the county's share of the sales tax proceeds would be used for the future capital improvement needs of the county to foster and encourage economic development. Well, we've done that. Basically $10 million. So if that can't take care of any economic development, with 80% of the proceeds to be used for identified road projects, and where County Resolution 2041, which caused the state, the sales tax question to be submitted to the electorate of the county, references the use of the proceeds of the sales tax for future capital needs of the county and blah, blah, blah. So I'm wanting us to study that information that I just gave, that it wasn't in the resolution, but it was in the letter that we make the statement that percentage of the proceeds from the identified 1% sales tax approved on December the, or what
Commissioner,
date
the
was it?
election was February 3rd of 2000.
February 3rd, thank you, David. Received by the county and allocated for future capital needs of the county and to encourage economic development shall be 20%. No more. I mean, if we're gonna go by the letter, we're not gonna go by the statute, so we need to study that aspect, and I'd like to have that come to a conclusion, hopefully by next Monday after we study it, look it over, and I'll give you a copy of the board order that I'm drawing up here, and we can make that decision of whether we want to make it 20%. We want to go ahead and see how much money we can borrow now to do roads, but it should be no more than 20% if we're going to use that letter as a guiding light through the dark tunnel of where we're going. So I'll give you a copy. Bob, Bob, he's not here. Make sure Bob gets a copy, and we can study that and come up with an answer, because in here is that board order, is the resolution, is the letter to the people. Be nice if we could have a deposition to find out who changed and modified the letter to say 80% and 20%, because that wasn't in the resolution. So, other than that, if I have anything else you want to say?
Not this time.
Not this time. Staff, good?
Good.
We're adjourned.